Good morning from Yummy TV. Wishing you all well on another bitterly cold morning coming from down here. But hey, right, so the purpose of this video is done in a different way that we haven't covered in this way on Yummy TV. And with all my brainstorming, obviously with clean time, I'm picking up more information as time goes on. And yes, again, we talk about the Southport atrocities and the simple questions that many people have been asking from the beginning of this, sad time for the country. That if we had simple answers, we're never going to get closure over that kind of stuff. It's humanly impossible. But closure into how, who, why, some of the questions or things I'm going to put to you now, that if you answer those, then we would be much clearer about which part people played in the beginning of this saga of time and right up to its bitter end. And firstly, some of you will be aware now that the Southport murderer was in youth custody, a youth offenders unit, for carrying those knives in his old school. It becomes apparent that the red flags of the family, and a lot of you were right from the beginning of time, the red flags with his family. And the first question would be, how did they get to the UK, right? Stay with me on this, right? And so they came in 2002. It's definitely fact that they were in Rwanda in 96, which would have been 2 years after the genocide, which I'm remembering was 1994, right? That serious question that everybody needs answering was, why did you get the move from Cardiff to Southport? After all, the father was meant to be self-employed. They haven't got no relatives in the UK. How and why did they get the move? And think about this. On a bit of paper that was signed with what his job is, the father, bookkeeper, trader, accountant, weird how that's scribbled on there. But yet, he was in tax arrears for a number of years. So not really a good businessman, if you get what I mean, but I'm only suggesting. But then why the move to Southport? What happened there? Who negotiated it? Who? There has to be a chain. You don't just walk out of one house to another house. Who and why this took place? Answer that one. How did they get asylum? You can't just walk over from one country to another. There has to be a negotiation of passing of information. Otherwise, everybody could just walk in. And the suggestion of the family's background in Rwanda, where I bring some things you might know or you don't. So we know the grandfather was in the Tutsi army, believed to come from the Hutu tribe. We know the father. Why did there are other safer countries to go to rather than us, the great British sympathetic lot, right? So what was all that about? Because he was really, you lot was right. He was in the military of Uganda, right? As well. Interesting. What took place with all these things that you can't just tell us the reason? Someone let us know who granted it, and then we know to tie the knots. Brainstorming again, right? So the mum definitely now had a big related family official in the Rwandan government. Fact as well. Answer who that was and kind of gets in, but if you get where I'm coming from. The other thing that they were blaming and suggesting that Amazon were to blame for people going up there and looking, and because when the machete and the bow was found underneath his bed, right? They're suggesting Amazon and da-da-da-da. But I've had people check for me, reliable people. Amazon don't sell machetes like that and bows. So where did he get it from? You got the phone, you got the things, you've got everything that he was looking at with white colonial genocide. Out of his own mouth, he said he wanted a white genocide. So he hated the country that he was born in. Yeah? Got it undoubtedly from things from his parents. And no matter what any of you say, they knew what he had in the house and under the bed and all them things. So it become clearer to me. It's become clear, coming clearer for everything. But like you've asked me to do, I've joined those bits and bobs. And the big question in all this is why and who? Move from the house of Southport, come Cardiff. Someone's got to be involved in that exchange. The granting of asylum, you have to be involved in the negotiations or come from a third party where you discuss the reasons why, unless we're just free and open, just come over, even though that it is suggested that your part in your own country during certain things and genocide, government officials, Rwanda, they want you, what you had to leg it. And it would be terrible for me to suggest that with all the underhand stuff with the father and the things going on between from the past and the present, we could have suggested that maybe they wanted to overlook because of what he knew, the position of why he came over and blah, blah. And this is why the prevention of the Southport killer, it didn't reach the threshold, knock it out of the way because of the links between, no, he'll be all right. His father's told us that, I'm just saying, right? So I'm not going to get into all that bit there, but it's interesting. If you know some of these things or you've got answers to some of these things I'm talking about, let me know, please. I'll be up in a minute. There will be some stuff today on Julia Assange's time in prison.